A lot of big news coming out of SmackDown. 2 massive returns, a title change. What's going on with The Rock in his possible last match? And the stipulations for 3 stages of hell. It's Sportskeeda Wrestling News. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think. Yeah, let's talk about SmackDown. The first SmackDown of the year, 3-hour SmackDown, delivered some significant things. Randy Orton, yes, he hears voices and he hears them in a big return on WWE television. Let's get into it. Randy Orton back in WWE on SmackDown this week, interrupting The Miz, who was airing his grievances. And he came out and didn't say much, and The Miz offers him to join let's form a tag team. Miz KO doesn't have a great ring to it. Bam, RKO out of nowhere. Bam, RKO out of nowhere. Randy Orton back in the mix for the first time since October. Of course, he comes back right now, a few weeks out from Royal Rumble. So no Royal Rumble return surprise. Okay. So it does, though, seem interesting that he had an interaction quite quickly with Cody Rhodes backstage. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton match? I'd want to see it. Would you want to see it? Yeah, come on. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes? Ooh, what if Randy Orton turns heel and costs Cody the championship? Wouldn't that be crazy? Just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Matt Cardona is back in the WWE, and woo, you don't need to know Zack Ryder anymore. Quite the return. He was the surprise mystery opponent for Kit Wilson, and Matt Cardona delivered a special thing. He has been grinding so hard, making his name bigger on the independent circuit. I wonder how much he's going to continue to be on the independent circuit. He's still booked for some big matches, but he returned in a big way, along with Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre has set the stages for 3 stages of hell. In Berlin, on next week's SmackDown, he will challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Special stipulations. First match, a singles match. Second match, falls count anywhere, street fight, anything goes. And then third match inside the old school steel cage. Do we get the old blue bar cage? I don't think so. No. But still, I do think it's 50-50 that Cody gets out of this match with the title. I do not think it is a very easy thing that Cody will leave Berlin as the WWE champion. If he does, him and Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble, what do you think? Yeah, that's a possibility. Also on SmackDown, we have a new Women's United States champion, Julia, winning the title back with some distraction there from Kiana James. Sorry, Chelsea Green. Julia now becomes a 2-time United States champion. So let's get right into it. Chris Jericho, the latest on him. It's not if it feels like he's coming back to WWE. It's when and where. And he is indeed a free agent. Widely reported at this time that his AEW contract came up on New Year's Eve. And the expectation is that he'll jump over to WWE as soon as possible, sooner rather than later. Now, everyone immediately rushes to the countdown, so then Royal Rumble, right? Yeah, so Chris Jericho does the countdown, so he's going to be at Royal Rumble. Big money, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I understand where all of that makes sense, but here's where it doesn't make sense for Chris Jericho. He's already done it. Jericho is a guy who always wants to find a way to hit what you want from him, but do it in a different way. He's a constant reinventor. He's already appeared at a Royal Rumble. Now, if he's to appear at this year's Royal Rumble, it just won't be the same way he did it in 2013. Maybe he's appearing on the upcoming Monday Night Raw on Netflix January 5th. Some people think that's a possibility. Let's get into huge news about Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan reportedly, according to WrestleVotes, is expected to become the centerpiece of the women's division in 2026 and prime for a big role at this year's WrestleMania. Also interesting is the interplay within the Judgment Day. She was out of the picture, injury. She comes back. She's still with Dirty Dom, who's very, very over. But you have these other women in the faction, including Raquel Rodriguez, who she's been in a tag team with. And then Roxanne Perez, who was there in her absence, making eyes at her man when she was gone. That'll be interesting. And I do think Raquel and Roxanne will benefit if Liv Morgan is the centerpiece. They'll kind of play supporting roles. That's just the way I see it. Liv Morgan winning a women's championship, I feel like that's almost a given. Big news about The Rock. Yes, major news on his upcoming possible WWE return and maybe even his final match. Andrew Badala, who's been breaking some big news, reports that there is a massive offer, a quote, big offer under discussion for WrestleMania 43, the first one that will occur in Saudi Arabia, where there's always a lot of big money. And there is some hesitation, according to Badala, because if Rock wrestles at this, that will likely be his final match. Last time we saw him in the ring, having a real match, was at WrestleMania 40. And some people expected him to have a more active role at WrestleMania 41. He didn't. He was there when The Rock turned heel. Some people were really sour on The Rock. My thing is, if The Rock gets out there and he starts cutting promos, people are going to be on board. It'll be unfortunate if he doesn't get to have that final match in a way that he wants. But I know everyone thinks you have to do it at WrestleMania, but what's to stop The Rock from, like, having a big match at a SummerSlam? You know what I mean? Like, or something here in the States or something in Europe. Like, I'm not opposed to him having the match in Saudi Arabia, but maybe he is. I'm not talking for him. What do you want The Rock's final match to be? Everyone thinks Roman Reigns, right? It would have to be Roman Reigns, right? Stephanie Vaquer, yes, let's have some big news about her. According to Body Slam Plus, Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan has been discussed in the future, kind of leans into the whole idea of, Liv Morgan becoming the centerpiece. But, Stephanie Vaquer has been really holding it down in her own right, with sources saying when the time is right, she could also face off with big names like Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. I feel that. I feel Stephanie Vaquer is over-delivering on the hype that she has. You hear the reaction she gets. Casual wrestling fans know Stephanie Vaquer. I'm not saying a lot of them, but a lot of casual wrestling fans, when you're at a show, are like, I like her. And I think the internet audience has to break away and start listening to people outside of their bubble. Stephanie is one of those characters that is getting over with that fan base. She is adjacent, kind of in the I like a big, tough goth woman, like I like Rhea Ripley crowd. And you're getting that from Stephanie Vaquer. So we're having a big year. I can see it completely. A major update on the WWE TNA partnership. Yes, TNA in a prime position. They're going to have their new TV show and new TV home, on AMC and streaming on AMC Plus. They still have their own TNA Plus streaming service and a working relationship with WWE NXT. That is, seen them trade talent back and forth. It has seen TNA get some wins. It has seen NXT maybe get a little bit more. Trick Williams got to be their champion for a bit. But per Body Slam, WWE and TNA's partnership is expected to continue through at least 2028. I think it's very interesting. A lot of people thought, once they got their TV deal, that was it. WWE was just trying to help TNA get that number 2 role and skip ahead of AEW. But I'm of the thought that WWE understands that it's healthier if wrestling as a whole beyond them is good, whereas they see AEW maybe more as direct competition, and they'll, cross promote against them and try and do things where we're going to schedule the same weekend as them. You've seen those things, seen less of that more recently, but working with TNA, it's a completely different circumstance, and it opens up great opportunities. And I hope that means we get to see AJ Styles, Mr. TNA, be in TNA one more time before he's done. I think that's something that has to come from this partnership.